Welcome, 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 Hattiesburg, and a pleasant day to all our listeners. This is Abby, your host for Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. I'm here to bring you updates, news, and more from our community. To add to all the excitement, we have Mississippi Moments with Joe B. Martin and News Wrap to ensure you're up to date on the hottest topics. And guess what? We have a very special guest for you, USM Professor Ari Shin. You definitely want to stay tuned for what they have to share with us today. But before we jump into all the fun, here is a quick message from our sponsor. So hang tight and we'll be right back with more Southern Miss Today. Keep it tuned right here.
Sponsorship for Southern Miss Today comes from Mr. Sippy Beverages. Mr. Sippy Beverages provides water coolers, and coffee service throughout South Mississippi. Take half of your weight in pounds. That's how many ounces of water you need a day. Mr. Sippy Beverages can help you reach that goal by delivering fresh water to your door. To get more information or to set up a cooler and water delivery, you can call Mr. Sippy Beverages at 601-271-2420, or you can find them online. Sponsorship comes from Signature Magazine, the Pine Belt's original Seen and Be Seen magazine. Since 2006, Signature has been the Hub City source for arts, music, fashion, food, and more. Signature Magazine is published monthly and available at more than 200 locations throughout the Pine Belt. Signature is also available with the free Hub City Spokes app for Apple and Android phones. Signature Magazine, the Pine Belt's Seen and Be Seen magazine.
Welcome back, folks. In campus news, the Student Organization Involvement Fair will be tomorrow, September 11th. Join the Office of Leadership and Student Involvement at the annual Fall Involvement Fair from noon to 1:30 p.m. Browse samples of organizations that are available to students and find out ways to get involved in your community. If you have any questions, please email lsi@usm.edu for more information and assistance. The Involvement Fair will take place in the Thad Cochran Center in Union Lobbies tomorrow, Wednesday, September 11th from noon to 1 p.m. Don't forget to stop by. In Hattiesburg news, Extra Table, a nonprofit organization that commits to ending hunger in Mississippi, held a unique party to help feed the hungry. Numerous volunteers and thousands of dollars of food were supplied during one of their pallet packing parties. The organization has multiple tasks and projects for everyone to help feed the hungry in Mississippi. The organization packs pallets of food for months to come for people that cannot afford food throughout the community. Visit extratable.org to learn more about the organization and their efforts to help the community. Remember, students, if you are in need of food and support, there is a food pantry here on campus called the Eagle's Nest Food Pantry. It is located in the basement of the hub right across from the ticket office in the stadium. Don't be afraid to reach out for help. In Mississippi news, Jackson, Mississippi is offering people to take part in Older Adults Technology Services, or OATS for short, through the Bean Path in Jackson. The Bean Path received grants from AARP in order to create the free program. This program allows older people ages 50 and older to work on their computer and technology skills. The program strives to give more adults the opportunity to be on the same level as others that grew up around the technology. Everything that the students need are provided to them. The program wants to teach older adults how to access and use technology to enhance their lives. In international news, Japan was hit by a typhoon, one of its strongest storms in decades. U.S. forecasters are also warning that there are potential of worse hurricane season here in the south. Many other regions are experiencing extreme weather conditions as well. Over the years, storms and extreme weather have been getting increasingly worse, and this is due to global warming. Warmer ocean waters and warmer atmosphere, as well as rising sea levels, all contribute to the increased intensity of different types of storms. The IPCC included that humans have contributed to the increase, therefore contributing to the intensity of storms. That's your news update from Southern Miss Today. Next, we'll have the latest in sports and weather, so stay tuned. We'll be back after a word from our sponsors.
Sponsorship for Southern Miss Today comes from Mr. Sippy Beverages. Mr. Sippy Beverages provides water coolers, and coffee service throughout South Mississippi. Take half of your weight in pounds. That's how many ounces of water you need a day. Mr. Sippy Beverages can help you reach that goal by delivering fresh water to your door. To get more information or to set up a cooler and water delivery, you can call Mr. Sippy Beverages at 601-271-2420, or you can find them online. Sponsorship comes from American Graphics. Located at 8 Commercial Warehouse Drive in Hattiesburg, American Graphics provides custom screen printing and embroidery. They can be reached by phone at 601-602-2277, and the website is goamericangraphics.com. American Graphics, printing at its finest.
Welcome back with our action-packed sports segment. Let's dive into the latest scores and highlights in sports. Get your jerseys on because it's game time. We beat the Southeastern Lions 35-10 in our first home game of the season. Our next game will be versus South Florida Bulls on Saturday, September 14th at 6 p.m. Go Eagles! Today, the women's golf team will be competing at Colbert Hills Golf Course, and the men's golf team will be competing at Argent Financial Classic. Head to southernmiss.com to keep up with the Golden Eagles sports activities. As for weather today, look for a low of 71 with a 90% chance of rain and a high of 81. Tomorrow, look for a low of 69 and a high of 76 with a 70% chance of rain. There's also a hurricane watch in place, so please be safe on and off campus. Up next, we have Mississippi Moments produced by the Center of Oral History and Cultural Heritage with Joe B. Martin, the first black Mississippian radio host, remembering his guest. Check it out.
This is Mississippi Moments, produced by the Center for Oral History and Cultural Heritage at the University of Southern Mississippi and supported by the Mississippi Humanities Council. I'm Bill Ellison. The Joe B. Martin Show was groundbreaking as the first TV show hosted by a black Mississippian. Martin remembers the wide variety of local guests and some of the more famous ones.
But on the TV was different from the radio. I had guests. I had people call up. Joby, can we be on your television show tomorrow? White and black. I never had no trouble. Mahalia Jackson was the greatest gospel singer in the world. She was on my show. The first black woman ever was Miss Universe. We brought her from New York, and she was on my television show. Thad Cochran, he was on my television show. James Earl Jones was on my TV show. Muhammad Ali. When I went to Florida, they sent me down there. He was fighting Ernie Terrell. That was about his second fight. And they say, Joby, go down there and interview Muhammad Ali. Bill Cosby, I interviewed him. Joe Louis, I interviewed him. He was at Muhammad Ali's fight. That's how I got him.
To hear more, subscribe to the Mississippi Moments podcast or just like us on Facebook. Mississippi Moments is supported by the Mississippi Humanities Council. The humanities are for everyone.
That was your Mississippi Moment for today. Coming up, we have the pleasure of hearing from Dr. Shin, so stick with us while we hear a message from one of our sponsors.
Sponsorship for Southern Miss Today comes from Mississippi Beverages. Mississippi Beverages provides water, water coolers, and coffee service throughout South Mississippi. Take half of your weight in pounds. That's how many ounces of water you need a day. Mississippi Beverages can help you reach that goal by delivering fresh water to your door. To get more information or to set up a cooler and water delivery, you can call Mississippi Beverages at 601-271-2420, or you can find them online.
Hey America, we need to have a little talk. We've got a lot of food in this country, so how are 17 million kids in America struggling with hunger? That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers surplus food and gets it to hungry kids who need it. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
To help solve hunger in Mississippi, contact Mississippi Food Network or visit feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Now please give a warm Golden Eagle welcome to Dr. Ari Shin. How are you?
I'm not doing too bad, Abby.
That's good. I'm very glad. Would you mind giving us a bit of an autobiography?
I was born in Iowa, and then I was raised in Manhattan for the first 10 years of my life or so. And then I moved to Seoul with my family for the next 10 years, and then I came back for college. So I would say I've had a very diverse range of experiences as an American citizen, living all over the States and then living abroad as well.
That is a lot of places. How did you become interested in researching Gertrude Stein?
She was one of the modernists who took it so far, and she was so aggressive about being avant-garde. She didn't make sentences that made sense. She didn't have any plot lines. So I admired how brave and courageous she was in totally ignoring all the conventions of mainstream publishing and getting away with it, thriving, in fact.
One of the examples we went over in her literature class actually is to describe an object. So like a rose is a rose is a rose, and there's no exact way to describe it. Like when words fail you, you can't really describe it besides describing it itself. What can you tell me about Spring on the Peninsula?
It's about a group of 30-somethings in Seoul trying to find their way forward amid burnout, amid heartbreaks, amid struggles with addiction, amid family troubles as well. And I think these are problems that are relatable for so many of us. And at its core, I think, even though it can be read many different ways, I think it's a love story. And I think it's about the main character, Kay, trying to come to terms with his past and failing to move forward in his present.
Okay. Having been released in April of 2024, your book has received positive reviews. How has the reception of your work impacted your life so far?
Wonderfully, I'm here right now speaking with you. So in that kind of a way, it's been really pleasant to feel the reception of the public.
She's a very excellent literature teacher. I'm not just saying that because I have her as a teacher. She is insanely wonderful. Probably the favorite I've had overall so far. You're one of the authors that is involved in the Mississippi Book Festival. Will you be involved in a moderated panel?
Yes, and I think the title of the panel is Debut Novelists or Debut Novels, and I'll be there with a number of different authors.
Okay. Will you be reading from any of your works as well?
I think there, one of the questions will have us kind of referring to specific passages, so there'll be some brief reading, but the panel itself is structured as more of a Q&A among all the authors.
Okay. Are you working on another book currently?
Yes, I'm working on one research book as well as the next novel. So the research book that I'm thinking about now moving forward, I think something to do with Korean American and Korean literature, and especially of the experimental variety. So we'll see where that goes. And in terms of the novel that I'm slowly piecing together, I think the main character, well, it could be an ensemble cast, but I think most of the main characters will be women this time around, and seeing where that goes, also set in Seoul.
Okay. Straying a little bit from the questions, going to my own questions. Let's see. What exactly inspired you to write, specifically Spring of Peninsula, first of all? What exactly inspired you to write that?
So it's not from any specific incident in my life, but in general, just the feeling of feeling tired as time keeps going. I think just burnout that everyone can relate to, especially, and this was actually written before COVID, so it coincidentally had nothing to do with COVID, but time's going, friends and family are scattering all over the world, and you're there alone just working and working and working, and then at a certain point, you have to ask yourself, what is this all for? So I think just the natural existential questions that we all ask ourselves, and then how do I actually want to live my life? Because once you reach your dream job, as I reached mine, then you start to ask yourself, okay, now that I'm here, what was all this about? And at the same time, when I started writing, it was, I think, fall or winter, and I was traveling back and forth to Seoul as well. And something about that cold, it was so delicious, and the skies were so gray, so white, and it just makes you naturally moody. And it starts making you think about all these characters and these situations. So basically the weather and my own existential general questions.
Based off of what you just said about going back and forth between like Seoul and other places, as well as what you said in the autobiography section about living different places, was that a background for writing this book? Like you just mentioned the weather and like the difference in place, but has your jumping from place to place been a big like contribution to the basis of your books?
Absolutely. Without that global perspective, all my traveling, that international kind of firsthand experience, it's really hard to talk about these kinds of communities and expats traveling and also locals. So my travels and my journeys and my familiarity with this kind of crowd and milieu definitely helped me write this story.
Okay. And back to Gertrude Stein once again, there's been multiple mentions of her in this interview and also throughout your classes. How much has her and her writing impacted you personally?
Incredibly so. I don't know how much in terms of the sentence to sentence, because if you look at her text side by side, they don't really look anything alike. But just in terms of her spirit, again, her courage, that you can do whatever you want. And you don't have to be so nervous and paranoid about what the general public is going to do. You can have faith in yourself.
Okay. Speaking again about your the book festival and also the release of your books, How much has that affected you as a professor here, or even like outside of school in general, mostly?
I think the conversations that I'm having are more interesting and diverse because now we can talk about creative interests. Now people feel comfortable telling me more about their creative projects. And it's not necessarily asking for my advice, but kind of knowing students, knowing colleagues, knowing simply people around in the Hattiesburg community as fellow creatives. That's been very rewarding. And
Oops, sorry. Go
Oh,
ahead.
no.
Have you helped other people with works since you've written books before? Have you helped anybody, like you mentioned, people come to you because with their more creative flow of things? Have you helped anyone work on any writings or maybe proofreading things?
In a soft way, in terms of talking about ideas and maybe seeing things here and there. And then, of course, in my classes, direct feedback on their work. But if people are sometimes having doubts about should I take a story there, can I really do it, then my answer is always going to be, because I like a little bit of crazy, it's all about the execution. Let's see what we can do.
Awesome, thank you. She also teaches, as I mentioned, multiple English literature classes here at USM, and as I said again, that is probably one of my favorite classes I've taken so far. I'm not just saying that because she's here, I promise. I genuinely love her class and the energy that she brings to it. It doesn't even feel like a class, I'm gonna be so honest. It feels more of like, it feels like teaching obviously, but it feels more of like a directed conversation rather than a class that we're sitting in, and it's the best classroom environment I've had so far. Thank you so much, Dr. Shin, for coming in today and providing insight on what you do. Coming up, we've got Subi Lama reporting on student success.
For Southern Miss Student Media Center, I'm Suvi Lama. USM's Center for Student Success is launching an extensive success coach program. The initiative is aimed at providing personalized guidance and mentorship to undergraduate students. They're now seeking dedicated faculty, staff, and graduate assistants to join its coaching program. The program is open to all undergraduate Southern Miss students on the Hattiesburg campus. While all undergraduates are welcome to apply, the primary focus is on students facing challenges adapting to university life. Success coaches will work one-on-one with students, offering guidance on goal setting, time management, and social as well as study skills. Dr. Ashley Burnside, director of the Center for Student Success, expressed the importance of this initiative.
I think sometimes we presume students know, but students don't always. And so we can go and make sure that they know whether that's academic services, whether that's social services, whether that's services on campus, or frankly, even within the community. That's really important because students have a lot of different varying needs that really impact their academic success and their progress.
The benefits of the Success Coaching Program are numerous. It provides students with one-on-one connections and helps them make progress towards their goals. This connects them with on-campus resources and offers support for successful skill development. For Student Media Center, Suvi Lama.
Thank you for listening to Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. We are thankful for Justin Ware, our audio engineer, and Michaelan Williams, our film producer, for keeping this bird soaring. We especially want to thank our program director, Shania Williams, our executive producer, Owari, and our assistant producer, Adeline Fields, and our general manager, Dr. Martin, as well as our guest today, Dr. Ari Shin. That's all for today on Southern Miss Radio. Thank you for listening. Remember, fly, eagle, fly. I'm your host, Abby Buzegard, signing off. Stay creepy.
Sponsorship comes from Southern Beverage, your local Michelob Ultra distributor. Michelob Ultra has significantly fewer carbs and calories per serving if you are watching those in your diet. You can reach Southern Beverage by phone at 601-268-9111, or you can find them on the internet at southernbeverage.com. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri, and Southern Beverage ask you to please drink responsibly. Recognition for your business or product, appreciation from a dedicated audience, and establishing yourself as a caring member of the Hattiesburg community are only a few of the benefits of sponsoring programming on WUSM. In addition, our very cost-effective underwriting rates are tax deductible. To learn more about the upsides of underwriting programming on WUSM, call 601-267